Good evening, Thunder Wizards. This is a really important video, I think. I want to talk to you about how to create a healthy relationship between you and the universe so that you can manifest everything that you want in your life. And I want to talk to you about some misunderstandings about the law of attraction that you haven't heard yet unless you watched one of my recent videos. I can't remember where it was, where I had this epiphany about how the law of attraction works and how you can have a toxic relationship. It's actually what you're doing is you're trying to force a toxic relationship onto the universe, and how that can get in the way of being able to have the law of attraction work. So if you've watched my channel, you know that I talk a lot about some of the misunderstandings in the law of attraction, why the law of attraction doesn't work much of the time for many people. And now I really get it now. Because, the truth is that there are some good assumptions in the law of attraction. And it's an extremely attractive, forgive the pun, it's an extremely attractive philosophy. Who doesn't want to feel good? Everybody does. I do. And I want to feel good, and I want to help others feel good. And it is true. If you're, let's say you're going to a singles party and you walk into a singles party and there's a cute girl or a cute guy on the other side of the room, and if you are radiating confidence and positivity, that's going to bounce back to you, and you're going to be able to go, and who knows what'll happen. But if you walk in there and you feel, if you don't feel confident, and if you have negative feelings, or if you have judgment towards people, that's going to turn them off and they're not going to want to be around you. So this is obvious. So the things about the law of attraction that work are obvious. If you have a relationship with the universe where you are projecting negativity all the time, of course, that's what you're going to experience. That's what you're going to manifest, of course. The issues that I have with the way the law of attraction works, with the way the law of attraction is being presented much of the time by some of the big law of attraction gurus, has to do with hyper focusing on how you feel. And that then it becomes a problem, because while it is true that if you walk into that singles party and you are projecting confidence and happy feelings and loving feelings, and you're projecting, woo, you're cute, you're going to get a positive response. While all of that is true, it is also true that sometimes you can show up to that same party and not have any of those feelings and take certain actions that will get the same result. Because we can't control our feelings. This is the part of the, what's being taught in the law of attraction that's going unstated. The assumption is that you have control of your feelings all the time. But the truth of the matter is you don't. You don't have control over your thoughts all the time. You don't have control over your feelings. We do have some control. There's definitely things we can do, and there's all kinds of things we can do to continue to gain more discipline and control. But the truth of the matter is, if a bad mood hits you, you're in a bad mood. And so the assumption, if the only assumption is how you feel is what's going to come back to you, then, if you're somebody that has a challenge when it comes to your feelings, then you're screwed. And so I want you to sit with the feeling just for a moment and just analyze. Let's not get into whether the law of attraction works, because I think a lot of people think I'm trying to talk them out. I'm trying to burst their bubble. I'm not. My goal is to share with you what I've found, which is that you can, if you choose to, you can learn how to manifest your intentions. that you can decide what it is that you want, and you can manifest those intentions. You can will them to happen. Now, there's a formula for how that works, but I want you to know that that is what I'm trying to teach you. And so a lot of people, when they see me talking about the law of attraction, they want to fight with me about whether or not it works. And I think the reason for that is because when I say to you that it's not 100% about how you're feeling, it's about the actions that you take. People want to defend their feelings. And the truth is that they want to feel good, and they think I'm trying to tell them you're not supposed to feel good. And so they want to fight with me about that. But that's not what I'm trying to tell you. In fact, I'm trying to free you. So I had this epiphany about the mistakes in the law of attraction. If you follow some of the false, incomplete assumptions and conclusions that is in much of the mainstream law of attraction, you're actually creating a toxic, codependent relationship with the universe. And in order for the law of attraction to work, you must have a healthy relationship. Now, this is true in life everywhere you go. If you create a toxic environment, people are not going to want to be with you. The only people that will want to be with you, and we're talking about humans now, the only people that will want to be with you if you are creating a toxic environment are people who are already damaged, people who are codependent, people who are dysfunctional. You will only be able to have a toxic relationship with toxic people. The universe is not toxic. So if you are trying to unknowingly, and nobody tries to do this, but if you are unwittingly creating a toxic environment with the universe just simply disengages. It won't respond. Your experience will be that the universe doesn't love you, it's a cold, cruel, empty place, or worse, it's got it in for you and it wants to punish you. Because the other thing that the universe does is it will reflect back to you your unconscious experience. And that can be a good thing because then you can look at that and go, wow, how am I, what's going on with me that I am projecting this. But anyway, we'll get into that. So I want to go over my notes because I want to make sure that I follow a coherent train of thought tonight. So we live in a modern society that is built upon shame. And many of our relationships are built upon shame. And I would go so far as to say that people who have problems with money, if you're somebody who is worrying, I don't have enough money, where am I going to get money from? The bills are coming. If money, prosperity, possessions, jobs, even your health, as well as love relationships, if you're on edge about these things all the time and these are challenges for you, I can categorically state that it is because you are infected with shame. You have shame about yourself. And, we live in a society of shame. And there's a good reason for it. Shame, when you have it society-wide, shame is the most powerful tool to run an empire. And we didn't see shame introduced into a culture and a society to the level that it has been for the past, couple thousand years at least, all over the world, until we started creating worldwide empires. So I'm not going to get into all of the history of all of that. except to say to you that this is how you have been programmed. Society wants to program this into you so you will be a good cog. Shame is an excellent way to get you to do what you don't want to do or what is not good for you. In toxic relationships, when you're with somebody and your main motivation is to get them to love you and to accept you, or to keep them from losing their temper with you or getting angry with you or disappointed with you, have any kinds of negative feelings for you. If your main goal is to keep that from happening, then you will do all kinds of things that go against your desires, your health, and your integrity. This is a toxic relationship. This is codependence. So I just want you to focus on that. Because the truth of the matter is, if somebody is healthy, if they have been programmed well in their childhood, if their parents have programmed them to, if their parents have programmed them to see themselves for who they truly are, and if their parents have programmed them to feel good and to feel empowered by going after what gives them happiness, then they don't need the law of attraction. So this is the catch-22 with the law of attraction. The people who are attracted, forgive me for the pun, people who are attracted to the law of attraction teachings are people who are dealing with shame. They're fighting against their own imprint that they don't deserve good things, that they don't deserve to be happy. So the law of attraction is a really empowering way. When somebody says to you, if you focus on positive feelings, positive things will come to you. It's just that easy. Just be positive and positive things will happen. And that is extremely attractive, as well it should be. Because if you're filled with shame, with self-sabotage, with doubt, with insecurity, the one thing you want is to stop feeling that way. And so you gravitate towards this. But I want to ask if anybody who's watching this is new to my channel and you are a follower of the law of attraction and you really want it to work, I want you to separate your feelings about that. Because that is the hook. That's the sales pitch, if you will. Sales pitch is, if you focus on positive feelings, you'll get positive things, which will make you feel good. Don't you want to feel good? Great. Feel good and good things will come to you. Come to our seminar. Buy our books. Go on a cruise with us. Keep watching my channel, whatever it is. That is the sales pitch. Because that's what keeps, and you go to the seminars and you're surrounded by people and they do the deep breathing exercises and you hear motivational stories and you hear testimonials. I started working the law of attraction and now I have $1 billion business and my wife and we have 2 kids and I drive and life is great and I'm healthy, and you're like, wow, I want that. And the dynamic of being in that group situation with everybody supporting you and feeling loved and feeling like you belong and all that. And then all these positive feelings come and you feel so good and you're going to go home and you're going to make this thing work. And what happens? It wears off. And then you start having doubts again and you have the fears and you have this self-sabotage and things aren't working, and then you start to feel guilty, and then the toxic relationship begins to be created between you and the universe. Because here you've been told the universe just wants to give you good things as long as you focus on positive stuff. It's going to give you positive things. But now you feel guilty because you're not happy all the time. So you go into denial and you try and talk yourself into being happy. And that doesn't work. And then you hide because you don't want to admit to all those people that you just saw that you're not feeling happy. You feel horrible. You're miserable, and you put a smile on your face. You put extra makeup on. And you create this toxic relationship between you and the universe. Because here's what happens in codependent toxic relationships. In codependent toxic relationships, you are not allowed to have all of your feelings. You're only allowed to have those feelings or express those feelings that make the other person happy. And if you do anything to upset them, they're going to blame you for it. So if you're in a toxic relationship, family relationship, a dysfunctional family relationship, there's going to be somebody in your family, maybe your father, maybe your mother, who's, when you're crying, is going to slap you across the face and say, "Stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. Stop complaining. Eat your food and enjoy it. Don't you dare yell at me, young man." And then if you've got like an explosive, if your dad has an explosive temper or your mom has an explosive temper, then you have to walk on eggshells and you have to be happy all the time. Because if you're not happy, you're going to make them upset and they're going to blame you for it. It's going to be your fault. So you better be happy all the time. And what ends up happening is you try and figure out. This is, the thing about codependent children or people that grow up in codependent homes, they become extremely empathic. And I've talked about this before. There's a lot of people who take a lot of pride in their spiritual powers of empathy until I tell them that's a defense mechanism. That's not a spiritual power. You had to learn how to intuit ahead of time what your mother or your father or whoever, or abusive spouse or whatever, you had to figure out ahead of time what they were going to be thinking and feeling, and you better get ahead of that so that you can stave off any problems. And if there's something you can do to make them happy, you're going to go and do it so that they don't blow up on you. So people who go through this become extremely empathic, and that they have intense feelings, and they also become very reactive to other people's feelings. Why? Because they have been taught that if somebody else has a negative feeling, they're probably going to take it out on you. So you better be in tune with their feelings and try and keep them happy. All right, so you got that understanding, you've lived through that, and if you've gone through that, you're probably very attracted to the idea of the law of attraction because you want to stay in a positive frame of mind and you want to have positive interaction with the universe. And here you're told, as long as you focus on positive feelings, you vibrate that out and the positive things will come back to you. That is so attractive. But if you are in fact trained to be a toxic victim, you are not wired to do that. Which means that at some point you are going to have some unpleasant feelings. And if you're trying to stave off your unpleasant feelings, they're going to build up and build up and build up, and then they will overwhelm you. And you won't be able to snap your fingers and be happy and think positive thoughts. It won't work. And the only reason I point that out is because then the whole law of attraction falls apart. Because if the whole point of the law of attraction is that you attract what you put out, and you can't always control how you feel, then there's only one possible outcome, which is failure. That's just, if you think about it, that's just the facts. Now, I'm telling you, after explaining that to you, that that's not how the universe works. Let me explain to you what a healthy relationship is. A healthy relationship, and I'm saying that the universe is a healthy partner. It is healthy. And here's the thing about healthy people. People who have healthy boundaries and who are healthy and empowered within themselves, they will not buy into your codependence. If you come to them and try and bring your toxic codependent issues on them, it's going to bounce right off, and they will either like not want to have anything to do with you, or they just simply won't react to it. And you'll be left alone with all that toxic craziness. Again, this is what happens when the law of attraction stops working. It stops working because you have now brought your toxic codependence and you're trying to force it on the universe. That's why I put this picture here. Picture of this guy pleading with the universe. This is what religion does. It has you get on your knees and plead. Please, please, please give this to me, please. And we're taught in Abrahamic religion that if you ask and ask and ask and ask, and then there's that whole story of Abraham and Isaac, and how God told him, sacrifice your son to me, and he's like, holy crap, and he scares the crap out of his young son and is threatening, he's about to kill his son, and then the angel comes in and says, okay, we're just kidding. What a mind fuck that is. That's supposed to be spiritual. That's supposed to show your faith. How toxic. God is testing me. The universe is testing my faith. No, as you're saying that, the universe is like, I'm just not gonna co-sign that for you. I'm happy to give you everything that will make you happy. I swear to you, but I'm not gonna co-sign that. I care about you that much that I'm not going to do that with you. So let's talk about what happens in a healthy relationship. All right. So in a toxic relationship, the kid, if he cries or if he wants something or if he has a temper tantrum, he gets punished for having his feelings because the parents are reactive. They don't want to see or feel your pain, your sadness, your anger, your frustration. They can't tolerate it, so they punish you whenever you have a negative feeling. And you get the message, I can't have any negative feelings around my parents or they're going to beat me. Now, bear in mind that little kids, especially toddlers, this is where we learn it. When you're a toddler, you truly are dependent upon your parents. If they don't feed you and clothe you, you will die. And so your main motivation is to bond with them and to make them happy. And they found that even infants at 6 days old are already figuring out what they can do in order to smile, giggle, to get the parent to love them and focus on them. They're already figuring that out. So if they're getting the message, from infancy up through toddler, the energetic message that they're not good enough and you're a piece of crap and you better not have any feelings, you better not make me upset, you can be sure that they become extremely empathic and they learn very quickly how to sabotage their own feelings and their own desires in order to survive. And the sad part about that is that once that gets imprinted, they become an adult. And adults, I could name off people I know that are middle-aged or older who are still stuck in that. And their life is miserable because they're still operating from that sadly, unfortunate imprinting. And so if you take that to the universe, it's not going to work. So the positive one, I'm trying to get the positive. The positive one works like this. Little kid, he wants to have an entire bag of chocolate chip cookies for dinner. And mom says, no, you can have one cookie now, and after dinner you can have another one. And the child wants the whole bag of cookies because it tastes good. And he's going off of, his body because we have evolved in such a way where we didn't have access to sugar like that. And so when we found sugar in the wild like honey, we consumed all of it because we didn't know when we were going to get it again. So we're evolved to want to eat a lot of sugar. Processed sugar, wow, our bodies go crazy for it. Little kids don't understand it's not healthy, so they want the whole thing. Give me the whole thing. And mom says no, and your whole body says, I need all of that. And you have a temper tantrum. And you start pounding your fists on the floor and you yell and you scream and you cry. The healthy mother goes, waits till you get it out of your system, takes you to your room and says, I love you. I know that you want a cookie, but you're not going to have one. You're causing a ruckus, so we're going to let you stay in the room for 10 minutes and you can get it out of your system. And when you're ready to come back, you can come back into the kitchen and I'll be happy we'll play games or watch television or whatever. And the little kid says, I hate you, Mommy, I hate you. And Mommy says, I know, I still love you. You can feel however you want. I love you and I'm not going to give you a cookie, but I'm not going to give you the whole bag, but that's healthy. Now, the message that the child gets is, oh, I can have all of my feelings. Now, what ends up happening when the little kid is not allowed to have all of his feelings, and let's say he asks for a cookie and mom says, no, you're not going to get a cookie. And he starts having a temper tantrum and mom pulls out the wooden spoon and starts beating the crap out of him and telling him, don't you ever do that to me again. You listen to what I tell you, young man. Throws him in the closet and slams the door. That kid says, holy crap, I'm not going to share those feelings ever again. Sharing negative feelings is bad. I will get beaten. Never show weakness. And guess what happens? The need to express those feelings does not go away. It stays. He shoves it down. It happens again. He shoves it down. It happens again. He shoves it down, shoves it down, shoves it down. And this whole huge, giant blob of crazy feelings has to come out. So he goes and he throws rocks through somebody's window or starts a fire or, tortures a cat or something. And then they grow up and they turn into, what they turn into. So the healthy relationship is when you are allowed to have all of your feelings and you're not judged for them. But also you learn that people won't react to them. So the other thing that happens is the little kid learns, the kid that's getting beat up, learns from his parents that if he gets old and big and he has a temper tantrum, that people will respond to him, that he can manipulate people with his anger. But he can't do it yet because he's a little kid, but when he gets older. And so they learn how to do what their parents did. That's how they learn how to function. Then what happens? You take it to the universe. I learned this a while ago. I remember realizing that the universe, this was way back when I was a religious person. I realized that the universe didn't respond to pleading. I found, if you think about it, God, please give me this, please, please, please. The universe just doesn't respond to that. It never did for me. If it did for you, well, I feel sorry for you if it did, because then that's going to create a bad precedent for you. But it never did for me. And my experience was that the universe just didn't care. I mean, I'm reading in the Bible, you're supposed to pray. You're supposed to pray. If you pray, God will answer your prayer. I'm praying, please, please, God, please give me the, please. Nothing. Until I learned that that's not how the universe works. The universe is not codependent. If you are angry, this is why I get onto people who are victims. This is why I'm so ruthless against people who have victim mentalities. Because when you have a victim mentality, and I mean not like you're play acting, like you really, really do, like you are suicidal, like you really honestly have a lot of deep-seated issues, it's a temper tantrum nonetheless. Suicide is a temper tantrum. It's the ultimate expression of a temper tantrum, trying to manipulate the universe into giving you what you want. The same way that little kids do when they're banging their fist on the ground. They're trying, they'll do whatever they can to get what they want, unless they have parents who have strong boundaries and say, listen, you can have whatever feelings you want. I still love you, but I'm not going to do something that I know is harmful for you because my job is to help you. So the law of attraction is toxic in this way. When you are told that your negative feelings will result in negative response from the universe, that is a toxic relationship. This is why I tell people it's great if you have positive feelings, but your feelings are not what's important. The universe responds to your actions, not your feelings. People don't want to hear that because people, again, most people who have toxic codependent histories want to be told if you feel happy, happy things will happen. And it dawned on me the reason why they do that is because that's how they have been taught. If you want mommy and daddy who are codependent and who are toxic, if you want them to be good to you, you better put a smile on your face. And you better not whine or complain or have any negative feelings because they are going to beat the crap out of you if you cry in front of them. This is why the law of attraction is so popular with broken people. The people who really need to have a healthy relationship with the universe. They are attracted to this codependent idea because that's how they've been brought up. Our culture has created that. Now, do you hear what I'm saying? If you're just happy and positive and you put out positive vibes, you'll get positive back. If you have negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative intentions, the universe will bring negative things back to you. It's just the law of attraction. You try to be happy, you try to send positive feelings, and you can't because you have deep-seated issues and there's a lot of pain. You have a whole lifetime of pain and shame and toxicity, and you have a lot of feelings about it, and you can't make them go away. No matter how hard you try, you can't make them go away, and you get depressed. And then you feel guilty because then you think the universe is going to treat you the same way your toxic codependent parents treated you or your violent codependent spouse treats you. And so you try and get it together and you try and be positive, and then that makes you angry because God damn it, why would it? And then oh, I can't be angry, and then you end up blowing your brains out, stabbing yourself, jumping off a cliff. The law of attraction works for people who are programmed healthily. Why? Because you don't have to tell them to take action towards what they want. You don't have to tell them that it's okay to be afraid and insecure, still go do what you want because that's what their parents told them. Their parents said to them, hey, I'm afraid too. It's okay to be afraid. But you know what? Even if you're afraid and you go do A, B, C, D, F, and G, good things will happen. I've proven it. And the kid learns because their parents support them in their fear and in their insecurity to take action. And they go and they learn how to take action contrary to their feelings. But kids who grow up in toxic environments are never taught that. They are taught that their feelings are bad unless their feelings happen to appease mommy and daddy's ego, in which case that's a good feeling. Anything other than that, it's going to get them into trouble. So they learn that they have to take action on their feelings because once they go do other things, this is why we become alcoholics, drug addicts, sex addicts, video game addicts. Do you see? Okay, so I don't know that I explained this as well as I would have liked, but I did the best that I wanted. So we've got, how many people do we have on here today? We've got 20 people on here. So I don't see any questions. The way this works is if you have a question, please write the word question, and I will answer the question for you if I can. So I do see one question here. First one, somebody here, DJAB, slowed and smooth, define the law of attraction. Well, the law of attraction, as it is taught, I've already told you, is that the universe responds to vibrations, which is just a fancy way of saying your feelings or your thoughts. And if you have positive, happy thoughts, you get positive, happy things. If you have negative thoughts and negative feelings, you get negative things. This, in a nutshell, is the law of attraction. Collarbone Fairy. Is the Saturn matrix real? I have a video on that. What you're asking is a huge question. So if you don't already know how to, go onto my channel and learn how to search within somebody's channel. And you can search for the Saturn Moon Matrix in my channel. I talk about it ad nauseum. Lorena Greco, question. Can chanting urus help me deal with fears? Sure. I want to address your question, though. Why do you need to deal with your fears? When I hear deal with my fears, it sounds like you want to get rid of them. This is what I'm saying. It's not about your feelings, it's about your actions. There's nothing wrong with having fear. Nothing wrong with it. Taking action towards what you want will probably bring up fear. So I don't want to co-sign this for you that, if you get rid of your fears, then you'll be able to get what you want, because that's not how the universe works. Again, let's go back to, if you were watching from the beginning, let's go back to the singles party. First off, let me say something to you. The universe is feminine. So even if you're a woman or a man, the universe is going to respond to you the same way that, generally speaking, nobody get their panties in a wad here. Generally speaking, the way women respond to men, or the feminine response to the masculine. Okay? So the way the universe works is that it will respond to your determined actions. You walk into the singles party, you're a guy. And on the other side of the room, beautiful young woman. Now, here's where the law of attraction works. If you walk in feeling confident and positive and you send out good vibes and you smile at her, of course, she's going to respond. She's going to smile back at you and whatever she does. But she's going to wait for you to walk across the room and talk to her. Unless, she's somebody who will do that, and I'm grateful that there are women who do that. But again, generally speaking, it is assumed that the guy is going to make the first move. So then he walks across the room. He's already plied her with his positive smile and confidence, and the two have met eyes, and he's plied her with that, and he goes across the room and he says, "Would you like to dance?" And she says, "I thought you'd never ask." Right? He walks in the room, he's not feeling confident, and he projects that lack of confidence in his actions. He sits down, he looks away, she sees him and he turns away, and he looks at his watch and he doesn't know what to do, and he sits in the corner and doesn't do anything. That action is going to say to her, wow, he's really not that interested in me. What is wrong with me? He may be having all kinds of feelings about, holy crap, she's beautiful. Oh my God, I wish I could go out with her. Those feelings aren't going to do any good. She's on the other end looking at his actions. The universe is the same way. And the good thing about that is this: it's not toxic. Because the universe is not being like a toxic empath trying to figure out what your feelings are and give to you what you want, or worse, responding to your negative feelings and giving you negative things, punishing you for your negative feelings. The universe is interested in your actions. Same scenario. The guy walks in. He is nervous as hell. He's never been to a singles party before. He has never asked a girl out on a date, and he doesn't know what to do, and he is sure he's going to get turned down. But he has been told that if you want to go out with a girl, you have to walk across the room and say, "Would you like to dance?" And he says, as long as I do that, it won't happen unless I do that. And with his fear and all of his insecurity, he musters up a smile. He walks across the room and he says, "Would you like to dance?" And she says, "I thought you'd never ask." And he goes, "Oh my God, it worked." And he starts to realize, oh, if I take action, I get what I want. The universe is the same way. People who are healthy who are told it doesn't matter what you feel. You can be scared, you can be happy. If you're motivated, great, go do it. But you know what? If you're scared, that's okay too. Still go do it. We believe in you. We support you. Even if you're afraid, we support you. Go do it, Johnny. And Johnny learns. When he hears the law of attraction, if you focus on positive things will come. In that is already assumed that he's going to take action. So nobody has to tell him. He goes, you know what? You're right. I can do anything I want. I'm going to focus on positivity. Now, because he's been built well, he doesn't have all this underlying, self-hatred and sabotage and shame blocking him from beating him up for all of his feelings. He goes, yeah, that's great. I can do whatever I want. And then he goes off and does it. He doesn't even think to himself, I have to go take action. But those of us who have been grown up in a toxic environment, we have to learn. It's not how you feel, it's what you do. The universe will respond to what you do, not what you feel. So, can chanting urus help you deal with fears? Of course it will, but I don't want you to feel like you have to deal with your fears. Love yourself. It's okay for you to have fear. There's nothing wrong with having fear. If you're chanting urus, it means that you're interested in our European ancestral shamanic heritage. And they had a philosophy about life. Those who die in battle go to Valhalla. Not those who feel confident and those who never complain, those who never have fear. Those who die in battle. How do you die in battle? You have to actually pick up your sword and walk out on the field. You have to take action. Even though you're scared to death. And you go into battle for what you believe in, what matters to you. If you go after what you want, regardless of how afraid you are, and you do it fearlessly, the universe will respond to you. Go up here to, and again, if you haven't done this and you're watching my channel on a regular basis, how can I explain this to you? neo.thunderwizard.com. The 5 rules to master the matrix. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the most valuable teaching I have when it comes to taking action and learning. If you just press these buttons, the universe will respond. And you don't have to feel anything. You just have to do certain things and it will respond to you. So neo.thunderwizard.com. Get in the habit of that. Get in the habit of loving yourself with all of your feelings and taking action regardless. Okay? Mr. Nobody. All right, so Mr. Nobody, I'm mostly interested in your questions. Normally when there's a lot of people on here, I just bypass all of the comments. So I'm interested in a question and answer relationship. So if you have one, feel free to ask. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take a short break and we're going to talk about, or another version of me, a recorded version of me is going to talk about the step 2 here of neo.thunderwizard.com. You need 4 things, in my opinion, to get the most out of this teaching and about this life. You have to know what it is you truly want, step 1. You have to have the power to get to your destination, which is what we're going to talk about. Step 3, I already talked about it. You have to know what the rules of the matrix are. So you don't get caught up in that toxic nonsense of, I have to feel this way in order to get this. No, you just have to know what to do. The universe will respond to certain actions every single time. That's number 3. Number 4 is we have this community where we help each other and we work together. So that's at neo.thunderwizard.com. Here is step 2 in that 4-step process. Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Negong Part 1. Celestial Negong means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Neko. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang Qing arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. All right, we're back. Okay, so we don't have a lot of questions here, and I did read what's on here. So, Mr. Nobody, I normally don't do this. Normally, when we've got questions, I just bypass anything that's not a question. But I am going to respond to your statement here. So, Mr. Nobody, I gather from this that you're new to my channel. If so, welcome. You are heartily welcomed on the channel. I hope that you stick around and keep watching. Please, I recommend binge watching this free channel and all the videos that are on it. So I am going to disagree with you, your assumptions in there. You say here, I'll get to Lorena's statement, she says too, but Mr. Nobody says, I purge fears every year, thanks to my ancestors. So I'm assuming you're doing some kind of shamanic work. And I think there's nothing wrong with exploring your deepest fears. Some need drug-induced episodes for purging fear. So you've mentioned purging fear twice. So the assumption is, and if you watch my channel and you learn, assumptions are everything. And when we have an assumption that is either incomplete or faulty, it means that the conclusions that we make are also going to be incomplete or faulty. And I think you have an incomplete assumption here. Your assumption is that you have to purge your fears. Again, the same idea. You believe that if you can get rid of your fears, then you will be okay. You're responding to a feeling, which means that you believe that the feelings have the power to control you. And you go so far as to say that some need, again, that's an assumption. That's a strong one. These fears need drug-induced episodes. And I disagree with that. I'll go back to what I said. Those who die in battle go to Valhalla, not those who purge their fears, not those who are fearless in battle. Those who die in battle, meaning those who go to battle and keep going no matter what. So I disagree with you that you need to get rid of your fears, and on top of that, that you need to have some violent forced experience, because that's what's happening. When you take a hallucinogen, you are forcing the glands in your brain to release the DMT and the chemicals. You're forcing yourself to have an experience. And I'm willing to bet, I don't know you, but I'm willing to bet that ultimately it doesn't work, which is why you have to do it every year. I'm saying that you can have all of your feelings, including your fears, and they can't stop you from taking action. Learn to trust what you want, not what you feel. Have all of your feelings. This is the hard part about what I'm teaching here. Because, to look at it superficially, to look at it dualistically, is to say either don't have your feelings and pretend they're not there, or have them and respond to them. And this is the middle path. The middle path is you have all of your feelings. You don't deny any of them, but you make conscious decisions on what actions you want to take. That is the sign of strength. That is the sign of true, enlightenment or what have you. And it's the goal of enlightenment, by the way. The goal of enlightenment is not to reach this static place. It's to be able to have all of your feelings and make conscious decisions about the choices you want to make, the actions you want to take. Okay? All right. Mr. Nobody says, again, if you have a question, write the word question, please. We're okay today because there's nobody asking. But Uruz is the second rune in the runic alphabet. You can't see it, but they're on here. And I teach the runes. So if you want to learn what the runes are, Runes, you can look for it on my channel. Uruz is the power of the, for lack of a better word, the buffalo, the bison. And it means it represents fearless power. So that's why she's asking that, because she's saying, Lorena says that she has this one fear that controlled her for a long time, and she doesn't want to let that happen anymore. So again, looking at your statement, Lorena, you said, there is one fear that controlled me for a long time, and I don't want to let that happen. Now, I have no problem if by chanting Uruz that gives you the feeling of power so that you can overcome that fear. I'm not trying to deny you that. So do whatever you can which will empower you. That's one of the reasons I teach the Celestial Qigong, because it will give you a feeling of connection to the universe. It will give you a feeling of power. It will also give you a feeling of being connected to a loving power. So that tends to give people a lot of courage. So I'm not trying to say don't try and find ways to get courage. But what do you do when you don't have the courage? So even though you had the experience, that your fear controlled you, that is an illusion. It didn't control you. You chose to let that overwhelming feeling control you. You chose either to take action or to not take action because of that feeling. And what I'm saying is, no matter how intense the feeling is, it may be challenging, but you can choose to take action in direct contrast to that fear. In fact, it is absolutely necessary to learn how to do that. Because, as I teach, there's only one thing that you're commanded to do by the universe, and that is to follow your greatest joy. If you do follow your greatest joy, you will guaranteed run into the karmic challenge of, do I follow what makes me happy, or do I do what my parents, my society, my religion, my government tells me to do? And you will have to make a choice between what makes you happy and what other people want you to do. And that will cause fear, because it all comes down to survival. The reason why we do what other people want is out of a fear of not being allowed to survive. It's a very base, we intellectualize it, we think it's not that big of a deal, but it's huge. Because it goes back to when you're 4 years old, and if you don't make mommy and daddy happy, mommy and daddy won't feed and clothe you and wipe your ass, and you'll die. So it feels like that when we have to go, do I want to become a ballerina or do I want to be an accountant? and I can't stand it. I'm going to be an accountant. It's because unconsciously you're afraid you'll die. You're worse than that. You're afraid you'll kill your parents if you don't do what they want. And we think intellectually it doesn't. It feels like, why is this such a big deal? Because we don't understand what it really is like underneath the surface. Okay. So, Mr. Nobody, again, I really prefer that you ask a question. Write the word question so I know you're asking a question. Otherwise, I'm probably going to, again, there's nobody on here, and normally I would just bypass it if I don't see that. And because you're new, I'm kind of on the fence as to whether or not you and I are going to have a good relationship here. So let's see here. Okay, Mr. Nobody doesn't say question, but he asks, how do you pass that barrier at will to the upper world? Why do you need to do that? Again, what the assumption? You got an assumption somewhere that being able to pass at will to the upper world was something that you wanted. Why do you want that? How does that benefit you? Listen, I'm a shaman. I've been to all the worlds. I can sit here, even though I'm talking to you, I can tell you that I feel a connection to all of the 9 worlds. But the assumption behind your question, to be able to go and immerse yourself, yeah, if you have a destiny to do that and there's something for you to be learned. Let's talk about, since you're asking that question, let's talk about shamanic journeys. Understand that our ancestors did shamanic journeys not for entertainment. They went on shamanic journeys to solve real life and death problems. And it started with when our ancestors, 100,000 years ago, were hunter-gatherers. They needed to be able to know where the herds of animals were or they would die. And whoever had the greatest ability to spiritually travel out of the body to be able to see where the animals were, that person became the shaman. And so when they ran out of food, the shaman would do whatever he did to go and find out where the herds of animals were. And he'd come back and he'd say, they're across on the other side of that mountain range. And if we get there in 2 days, we'll get there and we'll be able to. It started with a practical life and death need. So wanting to just at will go to it doesn't mean anything. And that's why it won't work. And so you run into the problem of just creating a fantasy because you're wanting to explore something. Or what a lot of people is, they just can't seem to, I try to do shamanic journeying and it doesn't work. So the way that you pass that barrier at will to the upper world is if you have a need to go there. If you go to the upper world, it's not like you're just going to show up and the beings of the upper world are going to be like, hey, what's going on? Let's go for a tour around the upper world. It's not going to work like that. If you make it there, it's because you have a destiny with them and they're going to have a message for you that won't be just for you. It will be for the whole world. On my channel, if you go, you can type this in. You can do this. It's free. Everybody can do it. I recommend everybody do it. It's called the Hool Breath. If you go onto my channel and you learn that Hool Breath meditation, you'll feel the power instantly. That was a result of me taking a journey because I was having a lot of energy sickness. I was doing different energy work and the vibrations were causing me all kinds of physical problems. And for my health, I needed balance, and I took a journey, and that is what I got from it. Now, that wasn't just for me. It was to share with the world. And if you read my books, go up here to courses.thunderwizard.com and find out where my books are. You'll find out what that entity was that gave me that and why it was so important that I learned that. So shamanism, for the sake of just having an experience like taking drugs or going whatever, watching porn and, pulling one off, it's not what shamanism is about. And if you go at it with that, you're not going to have much success, in my experience. So, I'm not, even if I knew how to tell you how to pass the barrier at will, I wouldn't tell you because it doesn't mean anything. It has to mean something. All right. So, question: can I go there to find about myself there? Why do you need to go there to find out about yourself? Why are you so disconnected from yourself that you can't find out about yourself right here and right now? I've learned a bunch of things about you just from your questions. I know a lot of things about you. This is why you work with a teacher. Um, you can't, a brain surgeon cannot do brain surgery on themselves. They need to go to another brain surgeon. So you may be a talented shaman, you may be a spiritual master. You're still going to need to go to somebody who will be able to look at you objectively. So, yeah, again, this is the misunderstanding about shamanism. You want to have this experience of self-discovery. I have nothing against that. But that's not what shamanism is. Shamanism is not self-help. You can be helped. I mean, every journey that I've gone on where I've had an encounter and received a message or a lesson, it has always helped me. But that's because I had a destiny to learn something that I was supposed to teach others. So if you have a destiny to be a shaman, it's not because you're going to have self-discovery. You can do that here with people. You discover yourself through relationships with people. That's why I'm talking about having a healthy relationship with the universe. Okay? So I think your assumptions about, I should say, I disagree with your assumptions about what shamanism is and the purposes of it is. Okay? So watch more of my videos and you can learn about that. I'm sure I'll be your brain surgeon. Go to thunderwizard.com and you will see all of the ways that you can interact with me and have private sessions with me. Be happy to do that. So go to thunderwizard.com and you're actually lucky because I have some openings. All right. Excuse me. I don't see any more questions here, so I'm happy to make this a short one. Let me see. So again, let's just recap again. What I'm here to say is that the cotton candy that is being doled out through the law of attraction teachings is that if you feel good, you'll get good things. If you don't feel good, you won't get good things. So feel good all the time. And as innocuous as that sounds, I am saying that is actually coming from a very toxic relationship. That is potentially creating a toxic relationship between you and the universe. And it comes from a projection. Everything is a projection. It comes from a projection, an unconscious projection. People don't realize they're doing this. But the unconscious message that comes from that, if you feel good, good things will happen. If you feel bad, bad things will happen. The unconscious projection is that the universe is your toxic parent that will punish you if you don't have good feelings all the time. And so you try to manipulate. I know people are going to flip out and they're going to say, that's not what I'm doing. But for those who are geared this way, this is how they're going to hear it. They're going to hear it as, if I can manipulate the universe to give me what I want by having positive feelings all the time. So here's what happens. Again, that's different from what I teach. First off, I do not teach that the universe is required to give you whatever it is you decide you want. I want you to listen to what I'm saying very carefully, because if you don't listen to what I'm saying, you'll misinterpret what I'm saying. What I do teach is that the universe will give you absolutely everything beyond your wildest dreams that will give you the most orgasmic joy and happiness and fulfillment in your life. But many people do not know what they truly want. those same people who have been programmed to think in a toxic way about themselves, they are operating from fear. So they believe if I get a lot of money, if I have a lot of power, if I have a lot of fame, if I win the lottery, then I can have the money to give myself what I want. That's the assumption. And so people go to law of attraction seminars learning how to go, oh, so if I imagine $1 million and I put a lot of happy feelings into $1 million, then $1 million has to come to me. And it never does. Because the universe isn't wired that way. The universe has an intimate connection with your soul, and your soul has a soul desire. It's not arbitrary. The universe is not arbitrary. It has a direct relationship to your essence. You know, people say, I just want to be loved for who I truly am. The only entity in the universe besides a good mother that will love you for who you are is the universe. Nothing else will love you for who you are. Everything else will love you for what you do. And it did. It stopped. All right, now it's green again. We'll see if we come back on. So I'm going to just wait. Stupid. That's it. I'm moving. I'm moving to Australia. You know what? On Wednesday, the 12th, that's it. I'm going to move to Australia because I want better internet. I'm only halfway joking. I am moving to Australia on the 12th, and I'll get there on the 14th. And yeah, so I need to do something here because it's not telling me if I'm on or not, which really annoys the crap out of me. And what I was saying was so powerful too. Nope. Okay, so it says it's streaming. Let's try this again. Let's go here. And let's go here. And it's Friday night and all the drunk people are outside walking by my window, making a bunch of noise, and being drunk, and I can't go out there and tell them to shut up because they have the right to walk down the street. And I'm just trying to get to the page so I can see that I'm on. I could be talking to nothing. Or you could be laughing at me. All right, because of all my craziness here. All right, live streaming. Come on. Nope. Offline. It says I'm offline. Oh, well. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. If you can, it'll be up here. So we'll just call it an evening. I got cut off in the middle of a really brilliant thought process, which I'll have to share again. So if you are watching, neo.thunderwizard.com to understand the 4 basic things that you need in order to get the most out of this path. Go to courses.thunderwizard.com if you want to see all of my books, all of my video teachings, and all of the other services I have, astrology and other things. Oh, now it says I'm on. Now I'm on. And of course, hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified of anything that's happening. So let me see if I can try. Let me see if I can say that again, because I really liked where this was going, and it frustrates me that we got cut off. The universe is not arbitrary. So if you go to the universe with, okay, I'm going to manifest $1 million, and if that is not what is going to bring you joy and help you to achieve what is going to bring you the greatest satisfaction, which will simultaneously be the thing that the universe needs from you the most. If you go and try and arbitrarily manifest something, you're going to more than likely end up with nothing or confused results. Because the assumption of you can just manifest whatever the hell you want, the assumption of that is that the universe is arbitrary and it doesn't give a crap. And that is not true. The universe isn't your God. You are the God of the universe. You are the creator of the universe, and you have chosen to have a 3D virtual reality experience in your own creation, which is a sentient being. And this universe that you have created is completely devoted to your highest happiness. And it knows what your soul wants. The reason why you came to have this virtual reality video game is to go through the adventure of discovering that. When you don't listen to your soul and you listen to the challenges in the game, which is instead of some monster that comes up, the challenge is do I do what I want, or do I do whatever I need to do to be accepted? That's the challenge. And when you choose to go, you know what, I'm going to do what I want, what makes me happy, then you get all of the goodies from the universe. That's the fun of it. And when you see, here's the thing, you don't even have to manifest what you want. This is the great thing. You don't have to sit and try and manifest what you truly want. All you have to do is figure out what makes you happy. Now you will have whatever challenges you have and whatever fears come up. And they might be really, really intense, horrible, frightening challenges. It kills people. I'm not going to lie to you. People die of cancer. People blow their brains out. People jump off cliffs. People, live miserable lives because they are afraid of being their highest, most successful, happy self. So I'm not trying to minimize it. It's very simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. But that's what you're here to do. If you go after what it is you truly want, once you've determined it, the universe has to, it must give you all of the necessary resources: money, clothes, car, relationships, jobs, plane tickets, whatever it is. You will get whatever it is, because the universe and everybody in it needs you to do your true path. It needs it more than anything. So what you've been told is that you're not allowed to have your greatest desires, and your job is to serve the state. And that's the whole, again, that's part of the game. That's why, again, I don't co-sign people's victim mentality. I don't care what the government or aliens are doing to you. It's part of the game. And your job is to, regardless of that, say, that makes me happy. I'm going to do it. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to make it happen. And the universe goes, yep, starts giving you what you need, based on your actions, not on your feelings. All right. So anyway, I was really on a roll saying that, but didn't really come out. So let's take a look at Celestial Qigong again. Remember, if you don't ask questions, I'm going to sell you stuff. So we'll watch that. If you do have any questions, write them down. If not, we will call it an evening. Let's see, where'd we go? Oh, there it is. Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Negong Part 1. Celestial Negong means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negong. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang-Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang-Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. All right, we're back. All right, let's see if there are any questions. Robert Gabriel is not asking a question, but he says, I think I can guess your zodiac sign. Are you a Gemini? No, sir, I am not. And I welcome you to the channel, and I invite you to watch my videos about astrology. I am a Vedic astrologer. And so if you want to understand that, you can go up here to courses.thunderwizard.com and click on Vedic astrology. And anyway, so even if, anyway, I won't get into that, differences between Western and Vedic, but Mr. Nobody question, I've gotten some messages to give to people, but when I tell them the message, they don't believe me. How can I help people if they don't want to accept it? So I'm going to once again disagree with you. That's not how the universe works. I know that sounds like what I just got through saying. So what I'm saying is that if you are a true shaman and you go and have a shamanic vision, you will learn something. You will have an experience which you are supposed to share with the world. You're not going to get specific things about specific people. The universe is not a busybody. That's codependent. So if you did get messages for other people, then this is what I'm trying to say to you. The danger of pseudo-shamanism is you get wrapped up in your own narcissism. You know, you're wrapped up in your own projection. That's your stuff. The universe doesn't work like that. You will never get messages about other people, ever. You may learn something that you will want to teach to the world, like I'm doing here. And I come out here and I write my books and I give my videos. And if people want my advice, they come and they ask me if I will teach them. This is why when I'm on here, I tell people to ask questions. Because that's how it works. The universe works that way too. So, Mr. Nobody, I would love to teach you what real shamanism is. What you're talking about is not real shamanism. It happens all the time, but this is your own. You're inside your own bubble, and these are things that show your need, right? Your need to tell people it's a. I know you don't feel this way, but it's actually a way of controlling people, and people think that they're being good. And here, like what Christians do, right? When you're walking down the street, some guy walks up to you with a Bible and says, God has told me to tell you the truth. You need to get on your knees and accept Jesus. You're like, I didn't ask for your help, man. You don't understand. I have to tell you. God told me to tell you. That's exactly the same scenario here. You're not getting messages for other people. You're not that important in that way. If you are given something, it's going to be, you say, here's what I've learned. If anybody wants to learn from me, you know where to reach me. And if they want, they will come and ask for what you have. Kaiser's Quest, welcome to the channel. I'm really just looking for questions. This is a question and answer. And but welcome to the channel. And again, if you're new to the channel, here's what I recommend that you do. First off, please go to my channel and watch my videos. Learn what it is that I teach. Go to these two links here. Go to neo.thunderwizard.com and go to courses.thunderwizard.com to see what the resources that I make available to you. Learn how to search within my channel. So that means know how to go onto my channel and search within my channel. If you're on a desktop, next to the name thunderwizard.com, there will be a little magnifying glass. You'll click on that. Another search bar will come up. You can put in anything you want. Saturn moon matrix, chakra, shamanism, runes, and then you'll see all the stuff on my channel. Then you'll learn what it is that I teach. If you ask questions based on what I teach, I will be more inclined to respond to you as opposed to just general questions about whatever. Okay? Mr. Nobody, question. So it's just narcissism. In what I read, yes. This is why, remember when you were talking earlier about purging fears and that you made the statement that sometimes you need to take drugs in order to purge your fears? Remember that? And I addressed that and said that's an assumption. And I told you why I disagreed with that. It's the same reason. Now, the problem with power plants, hallucinogens, entheogens, I don't care what word you use, is that the danger is that you are going to have an experience of your own narcissism. That's all that it is. I mean, I was watching today, I was watching YouTube and I clicked on a video of a guy who, I didn't watch all of it, but he said, I took ayahuasca 6 times and this is what happened to me. And in his first trip, he, talks about that it's a poison, that he's, shitting and puking the whole time and it's really awful. And it's because it's a poison. So what hallucinogens do are all drugs, whether it's alcohol, nicotine, THC, ayahuasca, DMT, I don't care what it is. It's a poison. And what you're doing is you are inducing your body to have a near-death experience. But here's the thing about near-death experiences. The first thing that's going to happen is you are going to experience your own unconscious. Just because you have a vision doesn't mean that you've experienced anything other than yourself. This guy goes on to share his trip, and his trip was not good, and the beings that were talking to him were bullying him. And it was a really bad trip. And by the end of the trip, he became aware that what was happening is that he was becoming aware of being bullied as, directing his thinking. And he had this great awareness afterwards, and it did seem to change him. And I think that's great. But all that ended up happening was that he experienced his own unconscious. And in his unconscious, he's full of a lot of self-hatred and self-sabotage, and he beat himself up. You don't have to go to those lengths to experience that. This is what shamanism really is about. This is what yoga is about. This is what Tai Chi is about. This is what Taoism, this is what Zen is about. This is what Buddhism is about. Those energy practices and those meditations, Qigong, are designed to give you those awarenesses in a conscious, constructive fashion, as opposed to damaging your energy body by cracking it wide open and forcing you to have an experience of your unconscious narcissism. Because the only way that those chemicals work is when you have a shaman who has a lot of power and he drums and he sings so that his power, his awareness will guide you on the trip. And a true shaman is going to look at you and go, nope, not today. He's going to be able to see in your aura whether or not this is going to be beneficial for you. As opposed to what this guy mentioned, he got on a plane and flew to South America and he paid X amount of money, and there's a whole group of people and a psychologist and everybody take the. That is not how it's supposed to work. That's why I don't think Westerners should be doing that. We're not wired for it. If you take hallucinogens, you should have a healthy psychological makeup so that your trip will be a good one and you'll be able to see what's going on and you won't be trapped in your narcissism and your codependence and your toxic bullshit. That's why in the 60s and 70s people were taking acid and jumping off cliffs instead of having these mind expanding experiences. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's just your narcissism. Nothing wrong with that. You can learn a lot from exploring your narcissism. But the idea is to have all of your feelings in your conscious state, have all of your experiences in your conscious state, and have the awareness to take the highest action towards your highest awareness. That is how you're going to discover yourself. Back to your other question. You just want to discover yourself. That's how it's done. The other ways are a dead end. I mean, they give the feeling of an experience, but they don't go anywhere. I'll share another. I was watching again a while back, and I'm interested. I want to know about people's experiences with this stuff. Of course, I have my own, but I also have my experience. I've shown the celestial qigong twice. That's the most powerful hallucinogen I know of, and it's completely healthy, and there's no side effects. But I was watching this one woman who went to take ayahuasca because she had Lyme's disease. And so she wanted to get healing from that. And she said something like, if I remember correctly, something like 26 trips or 16 trips. And so now she's back and she's a shaman based on all those experiences. But guess what? She still has Lyme disease. So yeah, she experienced her unconscious, and maybe she learned from it, maybe she didn't, I don't know. But this is what psychotherapy is. You go to a psychotherapist to learn about your unconscious. It's the same thing. I'm just saying do it in a way that doesn't cause you damage and doesn't get you trapped in your narcissism. Okay, Kaiser's Quest, if you have a question, I appreciate you writing the word question, because today we don't have a lot of people on, but when we have a lot of people on and a lot of people are talking, I bypass anything that doesn't say question before you ask it. Kaiser's Quest asks, when people meditate and talk about the light, is it the same as the light in a Kundalini awakening? I have had that experience, but never during a meditation. A lot of assumptions there. So go onto my channel and type in Kundalini and find out what I teach about what Kundalini is. So first off, I hear that you had what you believe to be a Kundalini awakening in which you saw light. I do not know that you, number one, had a Kundalini awakening. That's your judgment on it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know. But I don't even know, I need to know what you did to have that. Because here's the thing about Kundalini. Kundalini is not chi or life force energy. Kundalini is in the spinal column, and it is directly related to human psychological awareness. It is connected to the nervous system. So Kundalini yoga, when you do yoga and people start to have symptoms, their body starts to shake, or they rock, or they go into circles, or all kinds of things can happen. What we do know is that Kundalini is stimulating the nerves, and the nerves go into the brain, and the brain, so seeing lights, smelling things, hearing sounds, that could simply just be the nerves doing all kinds of things. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't mean nothing. But this is the same that, going back to my friend who was talking about, wanting to travel to the other dimensions. And I'm saying, what's the point of that? Why do you need to do that? Because the whole point of Kundalini is to allow you to fully process your emotions. Kundalini is going to tie you to the illusion of this world. That's what Kundalini is here for. Everybody has Kundalini. And everybody is having a Kundalini experience. Without it, you would not stay in your body. So the feeling that you have this experience and maybe you're leaving your body because you're seeing lights is a misunderstanding. If it is truly Kundalini, it's not necessarily what you think it is. A true Kundalini awakening is when you become mature. That's the true Kundalini awakening. And a true Kundalini awakening, because it goes up through the chakras, you have all of the experience of all of the chakras, and you learn all of the lessons. If you're having an intense experience, positive or negative, it means that your Kundalini is going through the nerves and the nerves are, detoxifying themselves. If you're seeing lights, it means that the energy is going into your brain and your neurons are firing in your brain. You may have great feelings, you may release DMT, you may hear songs, but if it's a real Kundalini experience, you will come back with knowledge that the rest of the world needs. If it's just an experience and you just had this orgasmic, blissful experience, great. But it doesn't have any spiritual significance other than you opened up some meridians. So again, I have no idea what it is that happened. I don't know what you did to have that experience. And you say down here it was life-changing. I don't know you. Maybe it was. But here's the thing again, with shamanic experiences, and that does qualify as a shamanic experience. Shamanic experiences are whatever happens, like let's say you get a message. Like I wrote in here earlier, if you saw earlier, I wrote down Hool breath. That was something that was given to me in a shamanic meditation. Now, just because I had it in a shamanic meditation and I practiced it and wow, I felt the power immediately, I went, that's great, but that's not enough. I wanted to prove to myself where it came from, because that would tell me whether or not I actually received something from an actual entity, or if it was just my own imagination. And I went through the process and I researched it, and you can read my book and find out the conclusion I came to. And I came to the conclusion that there was no way that I could have known that on my own. So that's why I only teach stuff to the world after I have verified it. Just having an experience and it changed your life is great. What's the message? So far, I haven't heard a message. So far, what you're telling me is you had an experience and you want me to co-sign your experience. And I'm happy that you had an experience, but I'm far more interested in what did that experience give you that is something that the rest of the world needs. Because other than that, it's just an experience. And we can have them. I do them all the time. I go surfing. Surfing is my experience. Surfing is my drug. You had an experience. So you obviously are led to the path of following Kundalini, or whatever you believe Kundalini to be. Okay? All right. So I don't see any more questions here. Again, I try not to have this be a back and forth thing, but we don't have a lot of people asking questions, so I'm indulging. Okay, so yeah, all right. So you got the message. I'm wondering if you're on a phone. I get annoyed when people only go on YouTube on phones. We can't control it. Anyway, that's just my thing. So, okay, so the message you got is that you can control everything. I would say that differently. I would say that we can manifest our deepest desires. But that's a great message. So you got something from that, you should go teach that. That was given to you for a reason, not just for your own experience, but so you can teach it to others. That is a true spiritual experience. Other than that, I say, what's the point? If you just had an experience and it was orgasmic, and then who cares? Big deal. I can do that in all kinds of ways. Okay? All right. I don't see any more questions, and I'm starting to babble. So I'm going to call it an evening. Again, the links are up here for a reason. If you want to get the most out of my channel, go to those links. Go to neo.thunderwizard.com, learn the 4 tools that you're going to need in order to get the most out of this channel and get the most out of your life. If you want to learn shamanism, real shamanism, from the ground up, where I teach you about ceremony, I teach you about the 5 elements, I teach you about the 9 worlds, the 8 directions, I teach you how to use all of those energies, I teach you about runes, I teach you about chanting, I teach you about mantra, I teach you about astrology, I teach you about all of the things from A to Z. Go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe at the entry level. If you want to become part of the Manifestation Mastery course, which is what we started talking about today, then sign up for the Manifestation Mastery course. If you don't want to do that, I recommend that you watch all of my videos on my channel. Binge watch it so that you know what it is that I teach. Then when we come on and do these live Q&As, you can have intelligent questions about what I teach, which I can really get into some depth and help you with that. Okay? And so that's it for me tonight. So Mr. Nobody, go to the links. I don't like lazy people. Put some effort into it. Go to the links and find out. You'll find out all your questions about what it is and all that other stuff. All right. Crone Woman Walking, thank you. She just dropped down $2, and she is sharing her experience that Celestial Qigong is life-saving. So that was for her, and it was for me as well, which is why I teach it. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks. I am leaving in, today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days. I'm going to be on a plane. Ooh, I just got really excited. I'm almost out of here. And then we'll see what happens. 5 days, and I am jumping off the cliff. And we'll see where I end up. But that's it for me now. I will talk to you guys probably before the weekend's out, but if I don't, you know why. All right. Let's see, where am I going? Talk to you guys later.